Real quick out of character note, spoilers for Season 3 of the Magnus Archives, mainly just for episode 111. It would make most sense to see Swallowtail's first statement and all of First Time Listeners series through number 9. Despite that, this statement works mostly fine on its own. Also, I want it to be noted, I know nothing about how electrical works and did no further study on it for this. But anyways, back to Swallowtail. Enjoy! Right. Ever since my first statement was posted, I've been seeing more and more spiders. No matter how many I kill, they just keep coming back. Don't even get me started on the number of times I found a spider in my bed. The mother of puppets is clearly interested. I can't tell if it's the web's upset or pleased by my metamorphosis and subsequent statement. I'm honestly not sure which I consider to be worse. Either way, I'd rather it left me and my swarm alone instead of pestering me, someone who is already thoroughly claimed by the corruption with vague signs I can't interpret. Regardless, this evening I was graced with the presence of yet another spider in my home, which was quickly dispatched of. However, in the corner it had been occupying was a cobweb-covered piece of folded paper. It's not old. In fact, it looks almost new. I'm guessing it's a statement. I had considered leaving it to decompose in my garden, but, well, I'm recording now, so guess that means I'm going to read it. I'm no archivist. I'm not even of the beholding, but fine. Since it seems I have no choice, here I am, reading some random statement I was given. I can only hope that maybe this will help my fellow Lepidoptera, or at the very least help ease the hunger. Statement originally written by someone who spilled ink all over their would-be name and date regarding something. Audio recording by a Swallowtail, 16th of July, 2025. Statement begins. I wanted to write this down for, I don't really know why. Writing it in ink doesn't make it any more or less true. Maybe I just wanted to get it all out of my head and onto paper, just to have something solid and real of my accounts. And if something were to happen to me, then this could explain everything. Well, not everything, only what I know, which is very little. Hard to know about something you can only see in darkness. Gosh, where to start? I moved into this house only a few months ago. Thanks to a few connections I'd made and a savings account I'd been steadily adding to for nearly 2 decades, I was able to land a job as an assistant electrician for a local company. After renting and rooming with various people while working multiple part-time jobs for years, I was beyond excited to finally look into having a place all to myself. The process of actually buying a home was gruelingly long, but eventually I settled on this place. My offer was remarkably accepted, so I considered all the work and effort worth it. The house itself is small, with only a handful of rooms, and a bit out of the way from town, so I don't really have any neighbors close by. It also means that nights can get really cold and dark, if ever without power. However, these factors were far outweighed by just how well kept and maintained the property is, despite its location. And also due to just how cheap it was selling for compared to similar houses I'd seen. When the home was being appraised, I was provided with all the various inspection reports. Well, all very important. The electrical report is what stood out to me, both as an electrician myself and for its surprising results. It was perfect. I don't mean it passes the inspection, everything is in working order and clear of potential dangers. No. I mean, there isn't a single defect or need for any improvement on the electrical for the entire property. I thought it was impossible, that there had to be some sort of mistake, or that it was some kind of shoddy cover-up of a serious code violation. And yet, when I was given the chance to inspect the place for myself, I also could not find anything in need of improvement. Everything was fine. It had worked flawlessly, and I couldn't find anything concerning to make note of if I were to move in. If anything, it was too perfect. I'd never seen such a cheap and rustic house with such good electricity, especially so far out from the main grid. Actually, I'd never seen such perfect wiring and circuitry in any building. I probably should have found that more concerning than I did, but I didn't. Simply thanked my lucky stars and bragged about it to a few of my co-workers. When I first moved in, everything was fine for about a day. I was able to bring all my stuff in, no problem. All the electronics and appliances and such were working flawlessly, and the Chinese takeout I ordered was delectable. I want to say that the shadowy figure I saw as I tried to sleep that first night was just my mind reimagining various unopened boxes, but I know that can't be true anymore. Because I kept seeing him. Every night, watching me. His form silhouetted against the murky darkness, his featureless face watching me as I tried to sleep. Always the same man. Tall and slender, with no distinct features or clothing, besides that he always wears a top hat. That hat was the most identifiable part of his form. The hat was what singled him out, the shadow shapes to be him. I don't own any hats. Each time I saw him, my heart race at the thought of someone being there in my room with me, invading and encroaching on the small space of my room in the most visceral of ways. And every time I went to turn on the lights, he'd be gone, leaving behind nothing but an empty corner that somehow still managed to radiate a kind of lingering malice that frightened me. There would be nothing there. After a few weeks of seeing him nearly every night, I removed all the boxes and furniture and shelves, essentially everything from my room besides my bed, ensuring to eliminate any possible forms and shadows that my psyche could recontextualize as a person in the void of details that is the darkness of night. But he still remained. I could have slept with the lights on, but over time, I stopped being scared to see the Hat Man. Eventually, I even grew to find comfort in him. That fear I initially felt slowly faded into familiarity. Besides, after all this time, the Hat Man never hurt me, so maybe he was actually there to protect me from other things that lurk in the dark. It was sort of nice to imagine he was meant to watch over me, protecting me from the dark I didn't know. A familiarity I could always turn to each night, no matter what went on in the day. Some nights I would lay in bed dreaming of the Hat Man fighting off creatures of the dark while I slept, like my very own night. A nighttime night of shadow and pitch, conquering the darkness in my stead. After several weeks in the house, I started to actually feel at home thanks to him. That's about when the electrical started acting weird. It drove me nuts. I swear I went through a dozen different light bulbs and examined the entire building's electrical system multiple times, and yet the lights just wouldn't stop flickering. And every time I went to turn them back on, it would take more and more attempts of turning it on and off again before it would finally light up. I swear it was as if the moment I inserted a new light bulb or rechecked the wiring, a conjectural countdown started, timing the very seconds until the bulb would be left lightless. A countdown that seemed to shorten with each replacement. It ate at me that no matter what I did, I couldn't seem to find the problem. Yet, despite there being clear problems with the lights, the properties electrical remained flawlessly perfect upon each examination. I eventually found myself buying candles and battery lights, though I hated myself for it. It felt like admitting defeat. Eventually, I began to practically relish in the darkness that came with the night. No faulty lights to be stressed over within sleep. No deceptively perfect electrical to go insane over. Only myself, my bed, the Hat Man, and the dark. Eventually, it became almost routine. Wake up, go to work, come home, attempt to fix the lights, give up, turn off the lights, go to bed, see the Hat Man, sleep, and repeat. I think I lost myself a bit to the cycle. It drove me mad, yes, but at least it was structured. I could always count on it being there. Then the Hat Man disappeared. That somehow scared me more than the first few times of seeing him. Why had he gone? Was it something I did? Has something driven him away? I know I shouldn't be so upset over losing what is essentially a sleep paralysis demon, but I was. He was a consistency in my life, something I could count on being there for me, even though he wasn't really there. And with him gone, the dark had free rein to creep in on me, to warp and shift into any sort of terrible nightmare. It's been hard to sleep these past few nights with the Hat Man gone. The electrical problems have gotten worse, malfunctions spreading to things beyond just the lights, and somehow all my batteries have vanished. The lights won't turn on anymore, so I've been using countless candles whenever the sun begins to set to keep bright. It doesn't help that the moon has been waning away, leaving less and less light to go by from it each night. Yesterday, I went out to head for work, but my car wouldn't start. And with the power out, my phone has been out of battery for days now. It's cold at night without the heating, without light, and without the Hat Man. The oily, shifting shapes in the dark could easily get me. I'd have no protection, no way to truly confirm there is nothing there. Because there'd be something there, waiting for me in the void. That's the true reason why I started writing. In case it's night now, the dark is slowly creeping in, its shadow and pitch shifting to reach out, to touch me, to blind me, to consume me. I can't let it. Please. I'm cold. There's only this candle left. Please, I'm so sorry. It's dancing. They're dancing. They're all dancing. He's dancing. I'm scared. So scared. The light is fading and I'm cold. Please, I don't want to dance. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, please. I have a choice. If I keep the flame alive, let it burn all I have, I will be protected by its brilliant light. Or I can let it fade. Let the darkness consume it and hope beyond hope that maybe, just maybe, he can shield me. I chose wrong. Oh God, I chose wrong. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. There's nothing there, 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 there's nothing there. There's something there. I can't decipher anything else. It's just spilled ink and what is practically scribbles. It's almost as if they wrote it. I see. Well, that explains the blackout that happened in my area a few months ago, I think. I don't really have any means of looking further into this ever since my computer became home for some nights, which has made it hard to use the internet without disturbing their peace. They don't mind me using it on occasion, but I'd really rather not bother them for this. Research is more of a beholding thing, and also I quite frankly don't see the point in investigating some random victim of the dark who's been long consumed or claimed by now. Gosh, I feel sick. That wasn't even a particularly frightening statement from me, and yet I feel like my insides are twisted and my head has gone fuzzy from the headache it's got. I do wonder if they had any knowledge of the Magnus archives, or if they watched any of your videos before their encounter. They certainly didn't mention it, but I suppose writing about how you've been listening to a horror podcast right before experiencing the horrors might discredit you a bit to outsiders of the situation. Not like writing about beings in the dark coming after you and messing with your lights is any more believable. Ah, well, I'm sure the spider is more than happy now for my contribution in its whatever the planet's weaving is. On another note, I know exactly where in my garden to have nature reclaim this ink and paper. Anyways, you've still got this, little moth. Keep it up. Until next time, my friends, just stay positive and things are sure to turn out. Yeah.